Okay, so this is Mind Warp, the virtual Doctor Who convention in aid of the mental health charity Mind. And our next guest is a face that you may or may not recognise from Doctor Who, because, I mean, he's just as likely to have his face covered by masses of prosthetics and suits and stuff as not. I mean, the most recent episode of Doctor Who, Revolution of the Daleks, it did both. It's the legend that is Jon Davey. Jon Davey, how the devil are you?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. How are you doing?
Yeah. So I've got to ask, how's your lockdown?
It's all right. Yeah.
You're keeping busy, man.
Yeah, I've probably been busier or worked. Well, no, not busier or worked more. I've probably earned more money this year, I'll put it that way, than most years. One of the other jobs I do, or maybe it's my main job, I'm not sure really, is I film a lot of music videos, and in particular stop motion music videos, stop motion animation.
Right, yeah.
So because of lockdown, the record labels were like, well, we can't really shoot any live action. So I've been very busy with that, which is good for the bank balance.
And in your spare time, did I see you're doing a van up at the moment?
Yes. So I took all my money that I earned from the record labels, and I bought myself a nice big van. And then stupidly, I undertook the task of converting it into a camper van, which will take forever. But the main problem that I had was that it's so cold and damp, I couldn't really do a lot. But a friend of mine owns a gym. The gym's shut, so I've literally driven my van inside his gym. So I've just started work on it there.
I should get you to talk to my brother, because he's done exactly the same. In fact, he's done it twice. So yeah, I should get...
This is my second time. I had a Volkswagen before,
yeah,
and I've gone for a Citroen Relay, high top Citroen Relay. So
nice.
yeah, so that's that's
keeping well and keeping busy. That's what we like to hear. So what I do want to do first of all, before we get to the sort of the obvious stuff, the Doctor Who, take me back to the beginning. What's your background? Where did it all start? Where does Jon Davey come from?
Well, what, as in from conception, or
well, I don't know if we quite want to go that far, but take me
in
back
the world of Doctor Who.
Yeah, well, where were you born? Where did you come from?
I live in Bristol. I was born in Bristol and still live here. And a brief little history. So I didn't care much for school. I didn't really make a lot of sense for me. And I don't know, maybe it's the way that I'm inclined. I don't like being told what to do, which doesn't go down well at school. But I was under my own assumption that what they were telling me to do was totally useless, which, to be honest, most of it was. So I kind of left school not knowing what to do, and then just dipped in and out of jobs for years, doing various different things. But I started a love for photography, and I worked in various camera shops, which facilitated me to get cheap cameras. I continued doing that, and then I started making money from doing weddings and that type of thing. Then eventually bought a video camera, and I thought, oh, this is good fun, and started editing my own videos and that type of thing. And then that led on to a friend of mine, Sue Gent. She worked for a Bristol company, an animation company called Daleks Brothers, and she rang me up and she said, "Oh, are you available for the next couple of months? We are making a music video for Radiohead. Do you want to work on it as a runner?" And I was like, "Yeah, that would be great." So I started doing that, and then I went from a runner to being in charge of a lot of the camera work within about a week. Because this was back in 2003. So they back then, well, all stop motion animation is all done with digital SLR cameras now. So you know, if you watch any of the Aardman stuff or any of the stuff from Leica that made Coraline and things like that, all shot on digital stills cameras. But back in 2003, it wasn't really a thing. A few people was playing around with the idea, and when I went there, because I was doing digital photography, I was like, "Well, can't you just photograph it on a digital camera?" Which we did do, but we actually had to have a small video camera by the side of the digital camera so we could see what we were doing. So yeah, so that was an amazing thing. And then for about the next 6 years, I worked with a company called Collision Films, shooting music promos for people like Scissor Sisters, The Killers, The Bees, lots of bands like that. But just after I shot the Radiohead video, I basically got a call, an open audition, for which I didn't know at the time was Doctor Who. So 50 guys turned up, and we spent a day at the BBC studios with the choreographer for Doctor Who, Elsa Burke, doing lots of movement exercises. And at the end of the day, she basically said this was an audition to be the Cybermen, which was the Cybermen in Series 2. Yeah,
one of those blokes.
Yeah, I've got about 3 of them up there as well.
I'm sure you do.
My nerd corner's over that side, not this side.
So what did the audition actually say? Did it just say we need people of a certain size and able to move and stuff?
Yeah, so obviously anyone that had a performance or dance background, that helped. I don't know whether I was just making up the numbers, but I guess on a personal level, my knowledge of animation and breaking down movement, well, possibly, and obviously, I guess it did help. So our next in as such was going to Millennium Effects, which made the costumes, or pretty much most of the monsters, for Doctor Who. And we went up there, and if the proverbial suit fits, then we got the gig. So yeah, so my very first day was it was the scene at the president's house when they're having a bit of a soiree and all the Cybermen come.
When the Cybermen come smashing in through the windows and everything.
Yeah, and yeah, that was quite good fun. It was actually, I think it was actually snowing earlier on in the evening, so it was very cold. It was very difficult to see in the masks as well because I've got a little prop here. One sec.
Handy, useful. Props is good.
This isn't actually a real helmet.
No,
it's actually a money box.
It gives us an idea, though, doesn't it? Yeah.
Gives you an idea. So the eyes in the Cyberman, they basically had like stretched black stockings over the eyes, so you couldn't see in.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is, if you look towards a light source, you just get a haze. So it was pretty difficult to see. We did most of our rehearsals without our heads, so we knew exactly what was going on. And if we had to do marching and stopping, we basically counted our steps. So, you know, we had a start position and an end position and then 12 steps, and we knew we were in our right place.
Marvelous, marvelous. And you've actually got some images of the stuff you've worked on over the years there. If Alex just wants to pull the other window in for us.
So there's a picture of me. Can you see that?
There he is.
Yeah. So that was me looking very pleased with myself, because that's the first evidence of me actually being a Cyberman. But that was actually from the next Doctor episode.
Yeah, I was going to say, because that's the graveyard scene, isn't it?
Yeah. So that graveyard was in Newport, and they literally sprayed the entire graveyard with white snow, and then we went marching across the graves. which was kind of a bit extreme, but yeah, the costumes were amazing. Again, made by Neil Gorton's company Millennium Effects. They were actually made out of fiberglass with a aluminium powdered coating, and I believe the costumes weighed around about 4 stone.
That was going to be my next question. that's not going to be a light outfit. It's not going to be like slipping on a linen suit.
No. You know, after, you know, wearing one of those for a day, you kind of really kind of knew about it. I got another one of me in the Cyberman costume. That's A Good Man Goes to War. And that was actually taken by the on-set photographer during the rehearsal. So we had obviously we had our helmets off as we were rehearsing. And another episode that I did was Voyage of the Damned, where I played one of the Heavenly Host, and you can just see me there in the background again with my head off.
So very, very quickly, they'd obviously got you pegged as, you know, Cybermen. We can bring Jon back because we know he can do the job and he fits in the suit. But then they're obviously thinking of you for other things along a similar line.
Yeah, well, once you've done it, and to be fair, the Cybermen were the toughest thing we ever wore. So anything after that, it was kind of like, no, this is easy. But yeah, it was a lot of it was down to Elsa, the choreographer, who you know, was very kind to get us back. It's not always glamorous on set. This is how we spend a lot of our time. So that's Adam Sweet on the left, and the infamous Paul Casey, who was the monster leader, and he went to work on Star Wars, the lucky fellow for like 5 years. But yeah, a lot of it is sat around and waiting for us to actually do something, and then having to hurriedly do it. I think, and then this is probably going to be a question as well, but my favorite thing that I actually did was an episode called the Pandorica Opens, where I played the headless Cyberman.
Of course.
So they shot most of the scene with an actor who actually had one arm, but Toby Haynes, the director, didn't manage to actually get the reveal shot of the Cyberman walking around the corner and picking up the head. So with the aid of a green morph suit, they cut my head and my arm off.
Sounds like the story of your life.
I know, exactly. Just cover my head up in a mask or chop it off. Another costume that I really loved was this one here from the Girl Who Died episode, the Maya Warrior.
You're saying that the Cyberman was the toughest, but I mean that looks really quite bulky and heavy, and I mean, I just can't imagine even being able to stand up in something that looks like that.
Well, the Kate Walsh, who pretty much runs Millennium Effects now, she basically said that they got the brief to make this, and they were, traditionally making stuff out of fiberglass and vac form plastic. But she basically says, well, cosplayers use EVA foam to make all their costumes. Like, why
Yes.
we actually do that as well? So that is basically, she said they took a leaf out of the cosplayers book, and that's built out of EVA or plastizote or flight case foam.
Yeah.
Which obviously they've done an amazing job to make it look big and heavy. I couldn't see it out of the top though. I could only see out of a little slit that was under the chin. So I could only see my own feet. I couldn't actually see directly in front of me. But this photo was taken by my friend Charlie Blewett in Australia when we went over there for the Doctor Who Festival in 2015. So that was a great picture of me with Peter with the Sydney Harbour Bridge in the background.
Oh, of course it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I've got a fun little video as well of us just practicing our moves in the Maya. All right, let's just play this. Quality may not be the best.
Gratuitous
the humiliation of it. So basically, the person at the front, me in this case, will actually shout and left, right, and then we get the pace going.
Yeah.
And then we can actually turn and actually be all in time. But Ian there on the left got sidetracked with something, and he messed up his movements.
And then you've got the random person walking past in the background.
Yeah.
Going, what the hell?
One of the crew. So as well as playing the monsters, occasionally they've got to get my face out on screen. And the first time was the Sortarum Stratagen, where I was an Atmos worker.
And you even got your own game card. That's awesome.
Oh no! Oh my god! Look how young I look there. I feel old now. So that was a good little scene. It was when the two unit soldiers run down the corridor, and I say this area is out of bounds, and then the door opens, and my line is "It's open," which is kind of stating the obvious. I don't know. I can't remember who wrote that episode, but it's like really. It was nice to occasionally get my face out, and also more recently was in Spyfall, where Graham in his laser shoes is shooting at me, and obviously you can see who I am because I'm the one with the bald head. So that was a nice little fun thing to do. I'm just having a look at some of the other photos, see if anything is relevant. Oh yeah, and whipping up more recently today was playing one of the Cyber Time Lords, which was really cool. These costumes were quite different. Obviously, this is, Christ, I'm showing my age now. This would have been 17 years on from Series 2. So these Cybermen costumes were made by Rob Alsop. And the obviously materials technology has moved on quite a lot, and these are actually made out of plastic that was I think like a sprayed plastic or something in a mold. So they were a lot lighter. And yeah, again, Rob did an amazing job of the heads and all the engraving and laser cutting and stuff like that. Which was super nice, and it was good to be back in a Cyberman costume again.
Yeah, well, I was going to ask about the sort of the differences between, because you've done more than one kind of Cyberman, so you kind of anticipated me there. Yeah, so
yeah. So the Nightmare and Silver Cybermen, I never got to be one of those. Basically, I'm too broad. So they wanted the thing is with whenever you put someone in a costume, basically you're taking a humanoid figure, but you're adding size to the outside of it.
Yeah.
So if you get an average looking person and then add to it, they're going to look too bulky. So generally, you know, skinnier the better. So
you need a skinny wretch like me rather than some.
Well, yeah, you would be perfect. You know, every time I get a call for doing something, I go on a massive ketogenic diet and cut my calories down to about 800 calories a day. So work in TV, they said, develop an eating
It'll
disorder.
be so glamorous, they said.
I know. So yeah, so you know they were yeah, these costumes were pretty amazing, and yeah, we had great fun with them.
Oh, that's awesome! That's absolutely awesome. You were showing those that picture before of you in front of the Sydney Harbour Bridge, because doing the show has given you opportunities to basically go places that you probably wouldn't have otherwise done, traveling the world for the series, for conventions and that sort of thing. I mean,
yeah.
So where have you been? Where haven't you been?
Where haven't I been?
Yeah.
So I got trying to think what the first BBC event was. There was a Doctor Who convention in Cardiff, an official one. I can't remember what the year was. I can't remember if that was before or after the Doctor Who at the Proms. It might have been after it. But I did Doctor Who at the Proms, which I'm going to share my screen again. Here we go. So I can show you something. Share screen. And share. So I played one of the Whispermen at the Doctor Who at the Proms, and in fact, I actually shot a time-lapse video of my prosthetic being applied. I'll turn the volume down for this. So I just set up a little GoPro. So there's my clean-shaven face, and here's my prosthetic being put on, which they started with a bald cap.
I find the irony of you having to have a bald cap added.
Yeah, there's Kate Lodge. And so yeah, basically it's a base layer, and they paint it with I think a stuff called Pax, which is glue and paint pretty much.
Yeah.
And that's basically stuck to us, and then there's a foam latex application that went around my lips there, which is glued on with the world's toughest glue. And then my facial piece went on. And then all of this was just painted as a base coat. And as the sort of underside of the actual Whisperman, because the actual skin of the Whisperman was a white stocking that was, all over our head. So they basically wanted a base layer that they would paint the shadow so it looks like, oh look, there's Neve, like a base layer that would then be visible through the stocking.
Oh wow, that's so clever.
So this took 3 hours, which is so mind-numbingly boring. Just sat doing thing for 3 hours. But one of my friends, John Moore, who worked for Millennium Effects and did lots of the Doctor Who monster stuff, he then went to work on the Guardians movie, and he was in charge of Dave Bautista's prosthetic. Yeah. And I've seen that application, which is like 5 hours, and he stood up for most of it. So So yeah, I can't really complain. The final part was the stocking. The stocking was then cut where our mouth was and then glued to our lips, which pretty much meant that we couldn't close our mouth all day. And we couldn't see. So
yeah. I mean, I was going to say about that at the point of the first image of the finished thing. It's like, well, well, yeah, you can't see a thing. You've got no eye holes.
No. Well, seeing's overrated, really. So yeah, that was 2013, which was pretty amazing. Then I went and had the opportunity to go. Oh no, actually, here's a picture from the Doctor Who. I can't remember what it was called, but it was in Cardiff. But this was me dressed as a Judoon, and there was an interview with the Doctor and the companions and Stephen Moffat, and I kind of got thrown out on the stage and said, "Go up behind Karen and make her jump." So. So that was good fun. And then in 2000,
I was going to say, didn't you do the Doctor Who
live
concert tour and that?
Yes. So, yeah, glad you reminded me. That was oh my god, that was 2010. Was that 2010?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And funny enough, I've actually got a video here from it. So yeah, this was a huge arena tour that we toured around the country for about a month. This was actually in Wembley Stadium. So basically, Ben Foster, who was the orchestrator and conductor of Doctor Who, had a sort of band, and then we would basically time everything in time to the music. So if you actually you can listen to the music and obviously see us marching in time.
This was brilliant. I saw this at Liverpool, and we were something like third or fourth row back, and it was an amazing show.
Look at the timing!
You will be like us. You will be upgraded. Upgrading is compulsory.
So, I don't know if you can still hear me very well.
Yeah, I can hear you, mate.
So basically, we got one of the crew to pretend they were taking photographs. So that's my friend Paul Hardy-Brown. And then basically I grabbed him and threw him up on stage.
My wife still talks about that to this day because she remembers seeing him coming out and thought it was an actual member of the audience taking photos.
Yeah, and yeah, there we had. Yeah, that was an amazing experience. I was so lucky to have gone on that.
It's a great show. Yeah. I mean, it was that everybody went to it. You mums, dads, kids, grandparents, aunts, uncles. You had the entire family go on and watch this live show. I don't remember going to something like that before or since.
No, it was pretty amazing, and also Nigel Planer was Vorgenson, the son of Vorg, for all you nerds out there, and it was absolutely amazing. You know, he kind of carried the show. It was amazing spending time with him and as well, and just chatting about all of his experiences, because he did We Will Rock You, and obviously he was in the Young Ones and the comic strip thing. So just for me, it was just amazing just chatting to him and kind of listening to all the stories. So the other things I did was the Doctor Who Symphonic Spectacular, which is kind of a cross between Doctor Who Live and Doctor Who at the Proms. So we did that in Australia and New Zealand, which was pretty fantastic. Did that twice, and then we did a UK tour as well. So I've got some more videos if you'd like to see some videos.
Oh, yeah, of course.
So this was me and Ben Foster, the conductor and orchestrator for Doctor Who. This was actually in Brisbane, in front of 10,000 people in an arena. It's pretty much the size of the O2 arena.
Wow.
So yeah, so it was a nice little bit of kind of comic relief where Ben's got his sonic baton out and he's trying to battle with me and the Dalek.
What is that noise?
The thing that I was more worried about was the celloists next to me. Their cellos are probably worth more than I earn in a year, so I didn't want to crash into it. So yeah, this was me on stage, and I did get told off for travelling a bit too fast on stage, but I just wanted.
But you are going a fair lick there.
I know. I didn't realise at the time that I was actually going that fast. But yeah, this just brings back some amazing memories. It's brilliant, and that was me as the Judoon captain as well, just sort of stomping around and scaring people. Yeah, it was a fantastic time.
So the new paradigm Daleks obviously are quite a bit bigger than an original series, or for that matter an NSD. A new series is Dalek. Are they much roomier on the inside?
Yeah, there's a lot of room in them. So the first time I actually got to play a Dalek was on Victory of the Daleks in the Orange Dalek. And we basically they grabbed a few of the guys that had played some of the other monsters, and we spent a day with Nick Pegg and Barnaby Edwards, Dalek 101 school as such, which we did use the new series Daleks, but their wheels had rusted up, so it was very difficult. No, actually we did 2 days, so we then went back, and then we actually had the Paradigm Daleks, which were a lot bigger and a lot heavier. The very first scene that we did was the scene where, and I always get this name wrong, the progenitor, is it that little egg thing that
the
progenitor, something like that.
Yeah.
It summons the Daleks. A load of smoke comes. We actually come up a ramp, which is very difficult for anyone that's ever been inside a Dalek. We couldn't see, so and unfortunately the Daleks didn't have the foresight to actually make their doors much wider than the actual skirts of the Dalek. So there was literally about 1.5 inches either side.
Threading the needle.
Yeah, and because we couldn't see out really in front of us, I think, I can't remember if it was Barnaby or Nick, hit the door, and then bang, 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 and all the Daleks just shunted up behind them. But we got around that problem with a white piece of gaffer tape actually on the ramp, and as we were going up, we were actually looking at the tape and moving left and right to actually get ourselves up there.
These are the secrets of television production, kids.
Oh yes. The new series Daleks came back, which was great because you couldn't really improve on that design. I think.
No, this is it. It's barely changed since 1963.
Yeah.
So, you can't improve on perfection.
Yeah. So yeah, it was it was good fun. In fact, I've got another picture. This was from the Symphonic Spectacular back in 2015. Here we go. Share screen. Sharing. So, so that's the bottom half of a Dalek. So during the show, we basically it was quite a mental schedule. So we did 7 cities in 7 days, and we did 2 shows a day. So if anybody works in theatre or touring events, that's a bonkers schedule. And we were basically having to pack away all of the props during the show because they then had to be shipped out to the next venue. So there's my friend Jamie Hill that played the Foretold Mummy, and there's me dressed as a Judoon, and we're packing away the Dalek during the show. So the glamour of touring life. Anyone that has done theatre knows that it's not not all that is cracked up to be.
It's utterly bizarre. I mean, and the symphonic. So that's 7 dates, 2 a day, and that was all around Australia and New Zealand. You were saying, wasn't it?
No, this is the UK tour.
Oh, this was because I was going to say getting to 7 different places in Australia would have been quite a shift as well.
Yeah, well, in Australia we did a show in Adelaide, then one in Perth, and that's like driving to Moscow from London. That's how far it is.
Yeah,
or it could even be further. And like literally, everything had to go by truck.
Yeah,
and they worked out the distance. I can't remember what it was, 4,000 or 5,000 miles, maybe something like that. Or kilometers, I don't know, I'm making it up now. But they literally had like crews around the clock driving to get it there. But yeah, the UK tour was quite ambitious because it is very expensive to put a show on. To make it worthwhile, they had to do 2 shows a day. So for example, we did Cardiff. So we did a matinee and an evening show. They packed it all up, drove it to Birmingham, set it all up for a 2 o'clock show the next day.
Yeah.
But we actually stayed in a hotel in Cardiff overnight. So we actually got in a coach, 9 o'clock in the morning, drove to Birmingham. So that was the orchestra and all the cast. So for a show that's going on at 2, so you dread to think if the bus would have broken down.
Yeah, or traffic on the M4, or
I know, but it all worked out. Yeah, it all worked out in the end, and we played an amazing arena. It was in Leeds, I think. Right. It's a brand new arena, but it's like a huge amphitheater.
Oh right.
So yeah, it was quite bizarre, and there was a scene they wanted me in the Judoon, which I've got virtually no vision at all, walking down the steps. But literally, there's probably about 50 steps that go from top to bottom at a really steep angle. And obviously, if I would have tripped, I would have been like Humpty Dumpty falling down. Oh. So that was that was a sort of minor adjustment that we had to make as well.
You've pretty much, I mean, it's been a rare year since 2006 that you haven't been involved in the show, which means that you've now been involved through 4 doctors, umpteen different companions. I mean, are you ever going to think, I think I'm hooed out now, or is it one of those ones where they're going to have to cart me away in my box?
Well, as long as I can still fit in the costumes, I think the thing is you probably know the TV and film industry is a very fickle business, and it doesn't matter who you are, how big a star you are. If something doesn't work, or if someone, not saying there's lots of ego in TV and film, but if someone takes a dislike to something, or they're having a bad day, you know, that the plug can be pulled. So maybe a word of advice for anybody that wants to work in television and film, or general media, I guess, as such, is the golden rule is do not take anything personally. So, you know, it is quite strange when you think about it, because at the end of the day, you're not actually saving lives or doing something that's important. You're just doing a bit of make-believe. But the pressure comes from the amount of money that's being spent per day. And obviously, you know, there's a person or people in charge of a budget. So I don't know what the budget is for Doctor Who per episode, and then you could divide that down by, say, 14 for a daily rate. But as an example, I briefly worked on Rogue One when they were doing the reshoots.
Right.
And allegedly the budget was $1 million a day. So, so if you imagine that you're a multi-millionaire and you're making a movie and you're spending $1 million of your own money per day, and if it doesn't go smoothly and the people don't do their job correctly, it's going to cost you $1 million for another day's shoot. So all of a sudden, if you kind of use that mindset, you can understand why there is a huge amount of pressure, and people can sometimes blow their top. But yeah, no, I don't know. I guess I'm just lucky. And the other golden rule that I heard years ago is be nice. It's very difficult for people, especially when you're young. So when, for example, when you see child actors and they go off the rails, people will go, well, why did they have a drink and drug problem? Look, they're famous. They got all this money. But the problem is, especially at a young age, basically you have a load of people around you that don't say no to you. And all of a sudden, you know, your ego gets inflated because you're this important thing. And generally, it's, especially with young people, you just can't cope with the pressure of who, you know, you're still trying to figure out who you are. So, and to be honest, I've heard it from all the greatest actors and directors. They're all super nice. You know, the people are right at the top of the game. You know, Tom Hanks, Steven Spielberg, Tom Cruise are the nicest people on earth. And that's not a coincidence, because when you're working on a set 12 to 18 hours a day, it's very tiring. If you're an actor or a director that comes out and starts shouting at people and making demands and having an ego, you could be the biggest thing. You could be the biggest box office seller. But if you act like that again and again and again, eventually someone will say, you know what, we'll get someone who's actually easier to work with. So, yeah, never take anything personally. Be nice. And hopefully it's worked out okay for me so far.
Definitely words to
48,
words to
48
live by.
episodes I've been in. So
48 now, is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or is it 49 and you're just not allowed to tell us yet?
Well, 48 was Revolution of the Daleks.
Yeah, Revolution at New Year's.
Yeah,
And
which was filmed in my hometown of Bristol.
Ah, excellent. And because I was saying, because you were a Dalek, but you were also a soldier.
Yeah, I was a riot policeman, but it was for a reshoot. I think they had to get a close up of something that they couldn't get when they actually shot it on location. I'm not sure that it actually even went into the edit, But I was also the Sycorax.
Yes, of course you are.
Bonnie and Clyde. So
not only do we get double the Jon Davey, we get triple the Jon Davey.
Not
we
once,
get our Jon Davies
twice, but thrice. Yeah. So and the brilliant thing about that is they've made a pin set of the actual episode. So I'm a little Sycorax pin, which is yeah. I know.
Oh, is it even possible to pick one of these characters, one of these monsters as a favorite, or is it going to be like trying to pick your favorite child?
Well, I don't have any kids, so that's easy. It's difficult. It's even though it was probably the hardest costume, the Cyberman was really cool because it was the first thing. But then getting to be a Dalek as well was pretty special. I don't know if I think my favorite moments were probably on the live tours, because anyone that's actually worked in television is very disjointed over what you're actually doing. So like theatre, you go out on stage and an hour and a half goes past and everything comes out. But in television, it's a case of say that line. Okay. All right. Say that line again. Okay. Say that line again. So you don't really get a feel for what you're doing a lot of the time, and you don't really know, am I doing this right? So doing all the live stuff was amazing. So was the shot of the Cybermen marching down in Wembley Stadium. We had to count 138 paces to hit a spot right at the front, which is great because it looks amazing. You're seeing one thing in one go, whereas if you watch television, it's like a 2-second clip of something really complicated that we did. But coming back to that, the way that we did it is we timed it to the music. So our very last step was obviously the last beat of the music, and then we counted the bars back, and then basically marched in time to the beat. So it was 138 beats back from the final one. So we literally marched backwards 138 paces to find our start point.
That's great. The other thing I suppose about something like the live tours is you've got that audience interaction as well, which obviously you're never going to get while you're shooting TV and film.
Yeah, well, I can remember this. I can remember on Doctor Who Live. So you may have even been in that show. I can't remember which one it was, but basically during the interval, they thought, a good way of getting the crowd back in their seats is to get dressed up as the scarecrows and walk amongst the people and get them back to their seats.
That does ring a bell. And Joshua, my youngest, would have been, well, he's like 14 now, so he'd have been about, I don't know, 5 or 6 at the time, and that didn't freak him out as much as the Weeping Angels do. But he was like so.
Well, either freak people out, or people go, "Oh, look, let's go down." So basically, we had a load of kids round us, lipping off in the Liverpudlian accent. And I had one. Basically, we had like a sash cord tied around our waist, and one of these little kids, I was going to use another word then, grabbed hold of it and spun me like a top and kind of unraveled me. And then my friend Carl Greenwood, who was with me, he I think he nicked a sonic screwdriver off of a child that was smacking him. And ran off. So a bit of audience participation going on there.
Oh, brilliant! That's absolutely so. It's obvious. So many good memories. and probably more than you're gonna have to write your book at some point. Yeah, there's that much there. I'm sure.
I have sort of started. The thing is, I'm I
was joking, but
I'm hugely dyslexic, so the even accomplished authors and screenwriters hate writing. Ironically enough, everyone that I've heard to said like, I just hate writing, even though they're a writer. So the vision of me, writing an email is pretty tough for me, let alone write a book. But I kind of started. My friend Ian Shaw, I don't know whether you know him. He did a podcast, Gallifrey Stands podcast.
I am aware of Gallifrey Stands.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he very kindly sat down with me and we watched the episodes. And I literally just did this. I just talked about stuff and recorded it. And then Ian said, "Oh, I'll write it for you." But then he got busy with work and he's doing another podcast. So he wasn't able to do it. So I got a load of recordings, and I may even get a copy of the recording of this, because if you sit down in front of a computer screen trying to think of stuff, you just draw a blank. But once you start chatting,
exactly.
So if there's anyone who really wants to ghostwrite or try and transpose my ramblings, I'll be more than happy.
You heard it here, folks. You heard it here first, folks. If there's anybody out there who wants to help Jon with his project, then I'm sure he'd love to hear from you. This is Mind Warp. And just to remind the audience that we are raising money today for the mental health charity Mind. And you should be there we go. You can see how to donate via PayPal right there. There's the link. We've got more to come today. But Jon, you were saying that one of the rules to live by is to be nice. And you definitely do that. We've done this a few times now. You are genuinely one of the nicest people that I've met doing this whole Doctor Who convention thing. And don't be embarrassed, because it's absolutely
I think my ex-girlfriends won't be saying things like that about me.
And it's always a pleasure, and thank you ever so much for spending this time with us. Is there anything you want to say to the people out there before we finish?
It's put me on the spot now. Have fun and live in the moment, because the moment is the only thing that exists.
Jon Davey, thank you ever so much.
You're welcome. Bye.